Chapter 399. Du Zhao's expression did not look too good after being interrupted time and time again. But he still asked politely, "What's the matter?" "It's just that, our Jiao Jiao also wants to find a suitable teacher now. I wonder if teacher Du Xiao is willing to teach Jiao Jiao personally?" Mrs. Qin asked with a smile. In her opinion, this matter was very likely to succeed. After all, there were not one or two peers in the entire country A who were more talented than Qin Youjiao. But Du Xiao frowned unconsciously. At the same time, this question stunned Mrs. Qin. Then Mrs. Qin said with a smile, "Jiao Jiao is also at a bottleneck now and it's very difficult for her to break through. She wants to find a teacher to teach her." However, when Du Xiao heard this, he felt that things were even stranger. He could not help but glance at Bei Yunj, who was sitting opposite him, before he turned back to look at Mrs. Qin. He asked in disbelief, "You're looking for me?" Wasn't the person sitting opposite him ruthless enough? Why did she have to seek someone far away? Mrs. Qin also felt that Du Zhao's attitude was strange. "Other than you, no one is more suitable to be Jiao Jiao's teacher. I'm returning to Country R tomorrow, so I can't bring your daughter along." Although Du Xiao admired Qin Youjiao's talent, he did not want Qin Youjiao to inherit his legacy. But if he really chose one, Du Xiao could not help but glance at Bei Yunj and start to have evil thoughts. If he could make this person his student, would it be easier for her to be the president of the International Musicians Association in the future? After feeling a strange gaze from somewhere, Bei Yunj furrowed her eyebrows unconsciously and looked up instinctively. Then, she saw Du Xiao smiling at her. Bei Yunj was speechless. What was he thinking? "It's okay. Jiao Jiao can go to Country R when she's free," Mrs. Qin could not help saying. Forget it, forget it." Du Xiao hurriedly waved his hands. "I can't harm Youjiao either." All he could think about now was letting Bei Yunj inherit his position. Where would she find the time to teach her? Seeing Du Zhao's clear attitude, Qin Youjiao's eyes darkened and she clenched her fists instinctively, her expression not too good. She thought that this matter was in the bag. But why did Du Xiao reject her so decisively? She had clearly checked and knew that Du Xiao wanted to groom a musician. Then why couldn't he choose her? Teacher Du Xiao really doesn't have such a plan? Qin Wanru's mother asked reluctantly. This was clearly a chance for Jiao Jiao to make a comeback. Hearing this, Du Xiao smiled but did not say anything. Suddenly, Qin Youjiao spoke. She stared at Bei Yunj and felt a sense of comfort in her heart, as if she was dragging Bei Yunj into the water. "I heard Yunj play the piano last time. It's not bad either. If teacher Du Xiao thinks that I can't do it, why don't you listen to Yunj's piano and consider her?" After that, Qin Youjiao was originally waiting for Du Zhao's rejection. But who would have thought? When Du Xiao heard this, he was stunned. He looked at Bei Yunj. "Do you really need it?" He did not know how good Bei Yunj's piano skills were, but her composition and writing skills were definitely not worse than his. If Bei Yunj wanted to find a teacher, she might have to wait for a musician from the last century to jump out of his grave. Hearing this, the rest of the people were stunned, some confused by Du Zhao's words. Only Qin Youjiao's expression changed subconsciously. A forced smile appeared on her face as she asked in a slightly stiff voice, "You know Yunj?" Du Xiao glanced at Qin Youjiao. After confirming that these people didn't know Bei Yunj's identity, he smiled. "We met by chance. P.S. There are 2 more updates. Good people, remember to vote." Chapter 400. With that said, the entire venue was a little quiet. Old Master Yun's chopsticks accidentally fell on the table. What was wrong with this new elder young miss of the Qin family? It was clearly rumored in the industry that the fake young lady of the Qin family was extremely talented. The real young lady only had a good life, but she had no ability at all. But just now, he heard about the 2 famous schools fighting for Bei Yunj. Now, he saw with his own eyes that a top international musician seemed to have a good relationship with this elder young miss. The alarm in Mrs. Qin's heart rang. What you said just now means, Du Xiao could not help but look at Bei Yunj. Do you really want to find a teacher?" His eyes were bright as he looked at Bei Yunj expectantly. It was completely different from when he rejected Qin Yojiao righteously just now. Even if he didn't say it, she could tell what Du Xiao meant. Old Master Yun's hands could not help but tremble. He really realized that he had stood on the wrong side. However, looking at Bei Yunji's behavior just now, she was not someone who would accept an apology at all. It was useless even if he turned around to express his goodwill. I don't want to. The girl's languid and clear voice rang out unhurriedly. With that said, Old Master Yun's eyelid twitched and he could not help but glance at Bei Yunji. Did this person know Du Xiao's influence in the music industry? Didn't she see that Qin Yojiao was trying her best to please Du Xiao and become his student? But Du Xiao asked weakly, I'm going to take the college entrance examination soon and want to study hard. Du Xiao was speechless. The rest of the people were speechless. Was this excuse bullying Old Master Du for not knowing about Yun University's competition? 520-inch sigh. This child is insensible. Teacher Du, why don't you give me your contact number? Let me persuade her properly. Old Master Qin suddenly said with a smile. Bei Yunji turned to look at him. Old Master Qin pretended not to see it and only smiled happily. If there became Du Xiao's student, who in this industry would dare to spread rumors about Ge? From the corner of his eye, Du Xiao saw that Bei Yunji really didn't say anything. He seemed to understand something and shook hands with Old Master Qin without batting an eyelid. He smiled gratefully and said, Really? Then I really have to thank you properly. I'll treat you to a meal when I'm free. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they inexplicably felt that something was not right. Just now, didn't Du Xiao say that he was about to return to our country and was unwilling to accept students because he was afraid of delaying Qin Yojiao? What was going on? Mrs. Qin's expression was also stiff. Teacher Du Xiao, are you planning to take Yunji in as your student? Then just now, Jiao Jiao. If we can take him in, we will naturally nurture him as the successor, Du Xiao said happily. In an instant, Qin Yojiao's face paled. To be Du Xiao's successor? Then wouldn't it be very possible for Bei Yunji to become the president of the International Musicians Association? Du Xiao Laosher, how could you? Mrs. Qin's face was a mixture of green and red, and her tone was somewhat flustered and exasperated. She had used her connections to find out what Du Xiao liked and specially asked him to come to the old mansion. In the end, the person Du Xiao liked now was Bei Yunji. But how could Bei Yunji be better than Jiao Jiao? Mrs. Qin, don't worry. Miss Qin's standard is still far from the bottleneck. Du Xiao said with a bright smile. However, these words made Mrs. Qin's face turn red and dark. Chapter 401. Did Du Xiao mean that he didn't like her? Then why did he like Bei Yunji? Under everyone's gaze, Qin Yojiao bit her lip and did not ask further. However, her expression did not change. She never thought that Bei Yunji would benefit from her finding Du Xiao. Let's eat first. What else can we talk about when we eat? Old Master Qin said with a smile with a rosy face. It was obvious that Old Master Qin did not expect Du Xiao to want to take his granddaughter in as a student. At this moment, he was already overjoyed. On the other hand, Old Master Yun's eyes had been fixed on Bei Yunji. He had a feeling that she and Du Xiao did not know each other ordinarily. Otherwise, why would Du Xiao admire Bei Yunji so much? Du Xiao did not even like Qin Yojiao, who was beside him. After the meal, Mrs. Qin and Qin Yojiao's expressions were the worst. In the end, before the Qin brothers could think of a way to get them out, Mrs. Qin left with Qin Yojiao. She did not want to stay in this place anymore. However, Mr. Qin's expression was guilty. Taking advantage of the time when Qin Lang and the other brothers were not glued to him, he walked towards Bei Yunji. What happened just now? Mr. Qin, are you here to apologize to me? Bei Yunji's gaze was distant and even her curved eyes did not have a smile. Yes. Mr. Qin clenched his fists and admitted it. Thinking about it, it's not the first time you've caused trouble for me. Bei Yunji's red lips curved and her tone was lazy. Compared to apologizing, I hope that you will disappear from my sight with your beloved daughter. Jiao Jiao didn't say that you cheated. Mr. Qin explained instinctively. Did she say that there's any conflict with me wanting her to disappear? Bei Yunj was still smiling lazily. There was a coldness in her extremely beautiful eyes that Mr. Qin had never seen before. Then, before Mr. Qin could continue speaking, Bei Yunj saw Huashidu accompanying old Master Qin down the stairs. The corners of her lips curled up as she walked towards the stairs. Bei Yunj asked with a smile as she leaned lazily against the railing with one hand supporting her head and watched the man walk down the stairs. What are you talking about with Grandpa? Talking about you. The man's thin red lips hooked up, then lazily stretched out his hand, leisurely scratched her chin. Bei Yunj was tickled and subconsciously rubbed against his cool fingertips. Huashidu could not help but chuckle when he saw this. In the eyes of the bystanders, this small interaction was inexplicably doting. When old Master Qin saw this, he came back to his senses and felt that something was wrong. In the study room just now, he had only chatted with Huashidu about Bei Yunj's living environment and studies. He felt that Huashidu was someone who could take good care of Ge. But now, looking at this scene, old Master Qin inexplicably felt that something was out of his control. Grandpa Qin, I'll take Yunyun back first. I'll visit you another day. The man in front of her was so polite that no one could find fault with him. Okay. Be careful on the road. Old Master Qin, an ordinary elder, could not help but remind them. Huashidu replied, Okay. Isn't Gur staying at the old mansion today? Qin Yu blurted out instinctively. Why would she stay? Doesn't your sister need to go to school? Old Master Qin rolled his eyes. However, in fact, seeing that his brothers cared about Bei Yunj, he was relieved. P.S. Be good and remember to vote. Chapter 402. That's enough. Don't just stand there and watch. Old Master Qin laughed coldly. I usually see that you're so busy, but you took the initiative to stay today. So it's because of Gu. Qin Yu was speechless. Not really. Old Master Qin chuckled and glanced at his 3 grandsons. How could he not know why everyone was here today? If it wasn't for Ge, how long would these 3 be willing to stay in the old mansion? However, he could also tell that compared to these 3 biological brothers, Ge liked the younger generation of the Hua family more. After leaving the old mansion, Tsing Su was driving in front. Huashidu's eyes were lazy and his well-defined hands loosened his tie casually. Even the 2 buttons on his collar were loose. He exuded a lustful and frivolous aura. The man glanced at the girl beside him. Yunyun, why were you angry just now? He knew that this child was not someone who would give others a way out. However, it was rare for him to act so recklessly. Bei Yunj was looking at the night view on the sparkling bridge outside. Hearing this, she turned back and thought for a while before she realized that Huashidu was talking about Qin Yojiao. Bei Yunj's eyes curved and the smile in her eyes was cold and unrestrained. She needs to be taught a lesson. It was not that Bei Yunj did not know that Qin Yojiao had manipulated public opinion to drag Director Lin down and called Director Lin to come to Hengda. It was just that it was not time to touch her yet. But it did not mean that Bei Yunj had the patience to watch her jump around under her nose. Seeing the coldness in Bei Yunj's eyes, Huashidu knew the relationship between the 2 of them. Brother, are you going to educate me? Bei Yunj looked up at him and asked with a smile. Huashidu's gaze landed on her unwaveringly. He chuckled lazily and carelessly pinched her cheeks. The man's posture was light and seductive. The warmth of his fingers was so ambiguous that it made her blush and her heart race. My elder young miss should be more pampered and willful. As for the rules, it was not up to his child to follow. Hearing this, Bei Yunj's heart skipped a beat. It was as if a different emotion had taken root in her heart and was growing quietly. Before long, Huashidu suddenly remembered what old Master Qin had said just now. Yunyun. Bei Yunj asked, What's wrong? You can go back to the Qin family's old residence in a few days. As soon as the man spoke, Bei Yunj subconsciously moved her fingertips. You! The emotions in Bei Yunj's eyes were unclear. After a moment, her fingertips fiddled with her clothes again. Okay. After that, the atmosphere in the car was a little strange. Even after getting out of the car, Bei Yunj waited for Huashidu as usual. She was more than a meter away from him. How could Hoshidu not tell that something was wrong with this young lady? Subsequently, he had just started walking towards Bei Yunj when he saw the little girl in front of him also walking forward. Yun. Okay, I'm going back to do my homework. The Pei in front acted as if nothing had happened. The corners of the man's upturned eyes were seductive, but there was a smile on his face. His voice trailed off as he called out again, Yun. What's wrong? Bei Yunj's tone was gentle. Brother is a little tired. Can you help brother back? Bei Yunj. She turned around and looked at the tall man with long legs in front of her expressionlessly. However, the man's posture was lazy and light. He did not look tired at all. Bei Yunj took a deep breath without batting an eyelid. I can't help him. I see. The smile on the man's lips was almost imperceptible. Just as Bei Yunj turned around, he suddenly walked over. Then Yun should be tired. Chapter 403. Hearing this, before Bei Yunj could deny it, someone suddenly hugged her waist and turned her world upside down. The man easily carried her up. However, Bei Yunj felt that her center of gravity was unstable and subconsciously wrapped her arms around the man's neck. What are you doing? The man's deep and magnetic voice whispered in her ears with a smile, but his tone was light, flirtatious, and seductive. Are you tired, Yun? Then I'll carry you back. Bei Yunj looked up and saw the man's refined side profile without blushing. She fell silent. It was all this face's fault. It was too deceptive back then. She had used all kinds of tricks along the way, but the man did not put her down. Until they returned to the living room. Hoshidu placed her on the sofa and stared at her. Bei Yunj. Can I go upstairs? The man's tone was lazy. No. Bei Yunj. Seeing that the little girl had been silent, the man's Adam's apple moved and he laughed softly. Can't you stay with me for a while longer? Bei Yunj mimicked his attitude just now. Who knew? The man looked at her for a while and laughed softly. He suddenly leaned closer and dragged out his last syllable. His deep and ambiguous voice seemed to be blatantly seducing her. Yun, do you mean that you can't do anything? Yes. Bei Yunj turned her head and did not look at that face that could easily make people lose their bottom line. The corners of the man's lips curled up imperceptibly, but he was not frivolous. Then can you not act coquettishly with me? No. Before Bei Yunj could finish speaking, she reacted. Her eyes moved and she subconsciously looked up, but she did not expect to meet the man's half-dark eyes. It was so tempting that her legs turned to jelly. However, the man's eyes had melted into a thick black color and he was still staring straight at her. His sexy throat moved slightly and he let out a chuckle. He lazily reached out and rubbed her cheek. You're so cute. It took Bei Yunj a while to react to his unexpected compliment. When did she act coquettishly? Bei Yunj looked up expressionlessly. Hoshidu. Clearly, this little girl was already on the verge of exploding. Yes, I'm here. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched, but when she looked at the man's handsome face, her anger dissipated. She gritted her teeth and only managed to squeeze out 2 words. Behave yourself. After saying this, Bei Yunj stood up and walked upstairs. The man's usually cold peach blossom eyes were curled up at this moment. His smile was too good-looking and seductive, as if it could electrify people. The next day, Bei Yunj received a call early in the morning. It was Marcus who called to tell Bei Yunj that there were a lot of things that could be developed in the computer industry. He asked her if she planned to do it herself. After all, whether it was in the field of high-performance computers or the information industry, they had a natural advantage in terms of technology. Therefore, if Bei Yunj was interested, she might be able to give it a try. You want to do it too? Bei Yunj sat in the back seat and asked. I don't have the time. Someone came to talk to me about this some time ago, so I thought of you. Marcus smiled. It had to be said that Marcus was indeed very considerate of Bei Yunj. Thank you, Marcus. Bei Yunj smirked before she said, I have an idea. When do you plan to do it? Marcus asked immediately. Bei Yunj said kindly, there's no hurry. I'll look for Delaney later. I want to catch up with him. P.S. Be good and remember to vote. Chapter 404. Marcus didn't understand at first. After hanging up the phone, he thought for a while. He only thought of one use for Delaney. Marcus was speechless. He probably didn't want to reminisce about the past but to get some money. At this moment, Delaney, who was still admiring beauties at the banquet, was still ignorant and happy. A few days later, the results of the second round of the International Musicians Association were out. 2 members of the International Musicians Association sent her the selection video and the admission results. As there were more eliminations in the second round, Bei Yunj could not help but frown after watching a few videos of people advancing to the second round. She watched all the selection videos again. In the end, somehow, she stopped at the selection video of an old man wearing a gentleman's hat and a tuxedo. She patiently listened to this original performance and called the members of the International Musicians Association. The members of the International Musicians Association obviously did not expect Weiyun, who had always been cold and ignored people, to call him. Jin Jiheng was careful. Yun. I would like to ask, why didn't number 107 advance? As Bei Yunj spoke, she watched the old man's video again. Upon hearing this, Jin Jiheng immediately went to look at number 107's selection video. Another voice sounded from the other end of the phone, as if asking him what had happened. After Jin Jiheng finished explaining, there was no response from the other end of the phone. Bei Yunj was not in a hurry. She just waited in boredom. Not long after, it was another person replying to her. His voice was sharp and deep, with a hint of mockery. He's too old. Besides, this is an original song. Anyone can write it better than him. He was the one who eliminated this old man. The original song was so unpleasant. He did not know what kind of mentality he had to dare to use it to participate in the International Musicians Association selection. Girl Classmate Network. Did the International Musicians Association accept all kinds of trash? Jin Jiheng warned, Arn. I didn't say anything wrong. Arnie's tone was disdainful. Alright, I got it. Bei Yunj restrained the light in her eyes and said unhurriedly, add a spot and let him pass the second round. Instantly, Arn froze and his tone became sharper. But how can there be such a person in our International Musicians Association? He was already very dissatisfied with the recruitment of Country A's people. Now, they were still recruiting such old and untalented people? Really? Because I think I can. Bei Yunj said slowly. When Arn heard this, his eyes were filled with malice. He could no longer hide his dissatisfaction with Bei Yunj. He sneered. Weiyun, I admit that you're young and talented. But recruiting such a piece of trash, could it be that you made some shady deal with him? After all, she had been indifferent during the first round. Arn, watch your words. Kim Jiheng frowned and reprimanded. President Du Xiao thought so highly of Wei. Wasn't Arn slapping President Du Xiao's face by offending Weiyun like this? Afterward, before Arn could continue mocking him, he heard a lazy voice. She smiled faintly. Do you think I need to explain it to you? You. Arnie's expression changed. If you don't want to work anymore, get Elder Du to replace you as soon as possible. Bei Yunj said casually. Hearing this, Arnie's face turned green and red, but he did not dare to tell Du Xiao. He still had business to attend to, so how could he leave? Moreover, Chapter 405. After holding it in for a while, Arn then said, I was being nosy. I'll add it for him now. It's good that you know your place. Bei Yunj laughed lazily and hung up the call very quickly. This infuriated Arn even more. This why? She's simply young and frivolous. Jin Jiheng sipped his tea silently. But she's talented. So what if she's talented? Someone like her. Before Arn could finish speaking, Jin Jiheng suddenly paused. He placed the teacup on the table heavily and leaned closer to the computer. It was as if he wanted to see how the 107 elder played. What are you doing? Arn was shocked by his action and quickly turned to ask. Look at the way he plays. At first, Jin Jiheng also felt that Yun's personal preferences were a little strange. Why would she take a fancy to such an ordinary old man? But not long after, he realized that something was wrong. Look at the movements of his fingers and elbows when he plays. Also, this small section just now seems to have about 200 to 300 notes. Jin Jiheng was stunned. At first, he only felt that this composition and style were very mediocre. In fact, it was not likable. But now that he listened carefully, it was an original score that was extremely difficult to play. Moreover, it had a strong emotional impact. Arnie's expression changed. He did not expect that this was really the one that was almost missed. But not long after, he was still disdainful. He's already so old. What's the use of coming to the International Musicians Association? Besides, we still need to listen carefully to this song to realize that it's different. What about ordinary listeners? Bei Yunj was quite interested in this score, but perhaps because the style was too different, it needed to be polished. She wrote for about 20 minutes. Just as she found the old man's email and was about to send it over, she paused. A moment later, at the end, Bei Yunj typed another paragraph of text. The score is not bad. I'm looking forward to the next round. After typing, she sent it and turned off her computer. At this moment, at the Bo family residence, the atmosphere was especially strange. Bo Xiuqun glanced at father and mother Bo, who did not look too good. If grandpa likes it, let him do it. In the past, when old Master Bo was young, his family did not allow him to learn music because he was the only heir of the family. But now that there was someone in the family managing the company, the old man could do whatever he wanted. Are we not going to let him do it now? Mr. Bo's face darkened. Your grandfather heard from others that the people who advanced in the second round of the International Musicians Association have already received the news. He hasn't. Right now, the old man is fishing and thinking about life. At first, he did not agree to old Master Bo going because he was afraid that old Master Bo would not be able to advance and would be so upset that he would not be able to eat for a few days. But now, what he was afraid of had happened. Can't the International Musicians Association be bought with money? Bo Xiuqun frowned. Mr. and Mrs. Bo's expressions changed. But very quickly, Mother Bo carefully looked upstairs. Seeing that there was no movement, she dared to speak softly. Mom has used her connections. Mr. Jean, who is in charge of recruitment, is my old classmate. But no matter what, they refused to open the back door. Bo Xiuqun was silent for a moment. Where are the others in charge? One of them is from country B. It's said that he has a big problem with people who are too old. It won't work either. Mrs. Bo thought for a while and said, there's another one. The person in charge is from our country. Bo Xiuqun looked at her. Who is it? Chapter 406. It's Man's arranger. Her name is Yun. When Bo Xiuqun heard this, helplessness appeared in his cold and arrogant eyes. Since they know each other, can't we just contact Ran directly? I've contacted them. This won't work. Mrs. Bo looked worried. Man said that if we really went to look for Yun, that person might directly eliminate Old Master. Sigh, why are there so many people in this world who don't bend over for money? Bo Xiuqun glanced at her and did not say anything else. A moment later, he suddenly remembered. Old Master is fishing? I didn't see him when I came over from the pond just now. He thinks the wind is cold and got the butler to catch a few fish and put them in the bucket. He's fishing upstairs. Bo Xiuqun. Will he come downstairs to eat later? He might not. Hence, the entire Bo family started to worry about the troublesome Old Master. Half an hour later, there was a commotion upstairs. Son, daughter-in-law. I've advanced. Suddenly, Old Master Bo ran down like a gust of wind, his face overjoyed. Father Bo was shocked and immediately went forward to help him, afraid that he would fall. Why are you helping me? Old Master Bo slapped Father Bo's hand away unhappily and instantly beamed. This is for me. Hearing this, Father Bo looked like he had seen a ghost and really looked at the email carefully. How could anyone take a liking to the old man's strange composition? Grandpa, did someone else send it from this account too? Bo Xiuqun looked at the email account. It did not seem to be an official account. Account? Let me ask. Old Master Bo was stunned for a moment before he quickly went to ask the other participants. Who knew? The account information sent by others was completely different from the account information sent to him. Cold Master Bo's expression changed. I don't think so. Seeing that Old Master Bo was in a daze, Bo Xiuqun immediately called the International Musicians Association to ask. Father and Mother Bo shook their heads frantically. This old master was already agitated. What if this email was really fake and someone else's prank? However, Bo Xiuqun ignored them and continued to negotiate with the International Musicians Association. After hanging up, Bo Xiuqun turned around and said, "We don't know who sent this email." The International Musicians Association said that the official account will send an email to explain later. Old Master Bo's ears drooped, and the joy he felt just now was gone. The family of four watched the TV series expressionlessly. The atmosphere became even colder. About 15 minutes later, Old Master Bo's heart skipped a beat when he heard his phone vibrate. He calmed down for a moment and opened the email. Unexpectedly, there were two emails. One was the official promotion notice from the International Musicians Association. The other letter was also an explanation from the International Musicians Association. Hello, Mr. Bo. After checking, your email was sent by the person in charge of recruitment, Yuan. I hope you will continue to work hard and look forward to the day when the International Musicians Association meets you. Although this explanation was written very officially. However, Old Master Bo almost stood up. It was Yuan who sent it to me? Old Master Bo was so excited that he was incoherent. When he thought of the email that Yuan had just sent him, which contained guidance and encouragement for him, he felt like he was about to fly. Among so many second-round promotions, only he was specially sent by Yuan. At this moment. Chapter 407. What entered her eyes was a rather long professional guide. Although it was long, there was no nonsense at all. It was very concise. It could be seen that this person in charge was not easy to get close to. It could also be seen that this person in charge really liked the old master's score. After reading it, Mr. Bo looked up and saw his son's probing gaze. It was as if he was asking him, "Don't tell me you've already bribed her?" Mr. Bo was speechless. If they really bribed him, did he need to be so anxious? The most reassuring thing now was that the old master had advanced. Their Bo family's crisis had also been resolved. For a few days, news about the International Musicians Association was spreading crazily online. The person who was discussed the most was Qin Youjiao, who was the youngest in the second round of the International Musicians Association. Although the fake young lady of the Qin family had made Qin Youjiao a big joke. However, in the eyes of the netizens, the nearly 18 debutante ball last time and the second round of the International Musicians Association this time had completely turned the tables. Even her fans had increased by more than half and the comments section was filled with praises. What kind of beautiful and talented young lady can enter the second round of the International Musicians Association? Piano tour at the age of 18. She can reach the second round of the International Musicians Association at the age of 19. Nice, her future is promising. But is there anything to be proud of in the second round of the International Musicians Association? She wasn't recruited. The person who said this is really brainless. There are only about 20 members in the International Musicians Association and all of them are immortals. It's normal not to enter, but it's heaven-defying to enter. Qin Youjiao is already very skilled to be able to reach the second round. Yes, it said that there are more than 10,000 people who signed up this time. After the first round of elimination, only 200 people are left. There are only 20 to 30 people who advanced in the second round. Don't you think Qin Youjiao is amazing? Haha, if there's an official member under the age of 30 in the International Musicians Association, I'll cut off his head and let everyone kick it as a ball. Tisk, I used to think that Qin Youjiao had suffered a loss after leaving the Qin family. Now it seems like the Qin family is the one who suffered a loss. Ever since the nearly 18 debutante ball, I felt that this woman is not simple. I love her. Reading these comments, Qin Yojiao's lips curled up. But suddenly, a caller ID appeared on the phone screen. Qin Yojiao's smile froze, but she quickly picked up the call. How is it? Does it feel good to be the center of attention after the second round? The woman's voice sounded. Hearing this, Qin Yojiao knew very well that now that she had everything, this woman would make her pay a greater price. Thank you. The woman sneered. There's no need to thank me. You've passed the second round, but it'll be difficult for you to pass the third round. What do you mean by this? Qin Yojiao's heart seemed to be in her throat as she asked subconsciously. When I arranged this for you, I didn't investigate the person in charge. I only found out yesterday that the person in charge is Yun. The woman's words immediately made Qin Yojiao's voice turn sharp. Her face turned pale. What? How is this possible? Didn't Yun just enter the International Musicians Association? How could she be in charge of this recruitment? Speaking of which, it's all because of Yun that Country A has these 2 spots. Therefore, the president loves her and her dog. The woman smiled. It's normal that she's the one in charge this time. However, what you need to worry about is that she interfered in the second round of selection. Qin Yojiao pursed her lips. Can't you help me settle it? With that said, laughter trailed from the other end. Chapter 408. I've asked. Yun has the final say in this recruitment. The woman answered without hiding anything. However, Qin Yojiao's heart tightened. But didn't you say that you would help me get a spot? With that said, anger rose in Qin Yojiao's heart as her eyes filled with jealousy. What right did Yun have to be chosen by Du Xiao? And she couldn't. Jiao, why are you in such a hurry? Of course I'll help you. The woman added, I'm saying this because I don't want you to be affected by your emotions. Yun isn't the students, you know. Even if there's a difference, it won't be too big. After all, with her ability, it's possible for her to succeed as the president in a few years. It was only when Qin Yojiao regained her senses that she realized the difference between her and Yun. She gritted her teeth and asked, I know what you mean. Then what do I have to do to get a spot in the International Musicians Association? Remember the website address? Hearing this, the woman chuckled. Her. Qin Yojiao's eyes turned red. However, there was silence on the other end of the call. Qin Yojiao froze. Using Yun's score? But Yun was the person in charge of the recruitment. Could she be allowed in? Don't worry, I'll get her new score for you. As long as you can play it, she can only swallow this matter obediently. I heard from my people that Yun likes music scores very much. Then why don't you can use her new score for the 4th round? Hearing this, Qin Yojiao understood completely. This was this woman's scheme. On one hand, she was using her to suppress Yun. Qin Yojiao clenched her fists. But didn't you say that she might succeed as the president? Could she continue to stay after offending the future president? As long as you listen to me, you'll be fine. What help? I have a friend who studies computing. Can you help him find a capable teacher? On the other hand, she wanted Yun to hate her. This way, she could only listen to her. Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth, knowing that this was her only way. I promise you. But I have a favor to ask you for. Isn't there still a week? I'll give you a new score in 3 days. Bei Yunj was standing in front of the apartment building. As soon as she picked up the call, she went straight to the point. That's not what I'm talking about this time. For the past few days, Bei Yunj had been busy with the project and didn't pay much attention to the International Musicians Association. Who knew? The next day, Du Xiao personally called again. Bei Yunj. Keep an eye on me? Yes, I've been investigating for 2 days and found out that someone wants to steal your new score. Be careful these days. You can send me the score a week later. Du Xiao did not forget to remind her. Also, don't put the score in the computer. Use a paper to write it down. Du Xiao's eyelids twitched. Bei Yunj, then what is it? During this period of time, I've been urging you to write the score. I didn't notice that someone had their eyes on you. I understand. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect that someone would be interested in her new song before it was even completed. After a while, she was afraid that that person would have a backup plan and simply hack into Bei Yunj's computer to steal the score. After all, she still did not know who that person was. However, he could even bribe someone from the International Musicians Association. It was obvious that that person was very powerful. She suddenly laughed. Elder Du, I have something to trouble you with. What is it? Bei Yunj said, Can you continue investigating this for me? Don't worry. Even if you don't say anything, I'll investigate this. After all, you're a member of the International Musicians Association now. Hearing Du Xiao say this, Bei Yunj nodded. Chapter 409. Thank you, Elder Du, Du Xiao smiled. I found out. What do you plan to do? Bei Yunj's eyes curved and her casual tone carried a hint of playfulness. Since someone misses me so much, of course I have to return the favor. Not long after hanging up the phone, a voice sounded from the elevator. Why are you here? Director Lin had just come downstairs. When she saw Bei Yunj downstairs, her heart ached as she tugged at her. However, her tone was gentle as she scolded, The weather is so hot. What are you doing downstairs? I'm free today, so I wanted to accompany you. Bei Yunj's red lips curled up. She didn't know if Director Lin had woken up at this time, so she waited downstairs. She thought that Director Lin would also go to buy groceries in the morning. I think you're trying to anger me to death. What if you get a heat stroke on such a hot day? The old lady wiped Bei Yunj's sweat with heartache and continued to nag. Even if you miss Grandma, you shouldn't wait downstairs. Can't you just call Grandma? It's okay. I'm also happy to wait for Grandma downstairs. Bei Yunj's eyes were too beautiful. When she smiled, the old lady's heart melted. This is the key. Go upstairs and watch TV for a while. Grandma will go buy groceries and come back to cook something delicious for you. Director Lin had always wanted to see Bei Yunj, but she was afraid that Bei Yunj would be bored if she accompanied an old lady like her. Therefore, Director Lin rarely called Bei Yunj. However, this time, Director Lin was already overjoyed that Bei Yunj took the initiative to look for her. Grandma, I'll accompany you to the market. Bei Yunj didn't wait for Director Lin to refuse and held her arm as they walked out. However, she didn't expect. Suddenly, there was the sound of high heels clicking on the ground behind them. A figure almost knocked Director Lin down. Delicacies. Fortunately, Bei Yunj was holding onto Director Lin's arm. A trace of coldness flashed past Bei Yunj's eyes as she looked up at the young woman in a suit. But before she could speak, Director Lin hurriedly grabbed her hand. Oh, this little girl is opposite of mine. She was probably in a hurry because she was going to be late. It doesn't matter. Bei Yunj restrained the coldness in his eyes and said lightly. Yes, Grandma, let's go shopping. All right. In the wet market. Watching Director Lin buy groceries, Bei Yunj couldn't say anything. She could only help Director Lin carry the groceries. As she lazily held her phone, she opened her contact list and found the person in charge of Director Lin's community. Hello, is there a woman in her 20s or 30s living in my grandmother's apartment? Very soon. The person in charge, Little Li, replied. Xiao Li, yes, the resident of 401 Himaching is the only 26 to 27-year-old woman. Seeing this, Bei Yunj typed another paragraph. Yes, ask her to move out this week. She doesn't have to pay this month's rent. Seeing this message, the person in charge, Xiao Li, seemed to be shocked for a while before he replied, Okay. This condominium was actually under Bei Yunj's name. However, the condominium that Bei Yunj bought in the beginning was another personal condominium in this community. However, Director Lin felt that it was too big, so Bei Yunj had no choice but to buy a smaller multi-unit condominium. He chose the most comfortable one for Director Lin to live in. As for the rest, he asked the person in charge to help him rent. After all, Bei Yunj bought the entire condominium to make it easier for Director Lin to choose a neighbor. Suddenly, the auntie's voice sounded. Chapter 410. Thank you. When Director Lin heard this, she beamed with joy. Unexpectedly, the auntie became enthusiastic again. How old is your daughter? Do you have a boyfriend? Actually, I have a good nephew. Although he's a little short, he works in a foreign company. He earns tens of thousands a month. When Director Lin heard this, the smile on her face gradually disappeared. There's no need. After saying that, Director Lin wanted to leave, but the auntie stopped her. Your daughter is good-looking, but she still needs to find a rich man to be her boyfriend. In this day and age, looks can be fake, but money isn't. The auntie knew Director Lin and knew that she lived in the high-end neighborhood next door. However, her nephew had bought a small villa nearby and even had a car worth 3 to 4 million yuan. Therefore, if this young lady could be with her nephew, it would be her blessing. My daughter doesn't lack money. Director Lin's expression didn't look too good, but she had a gentle personality and didn't know how to argue. If she doesn't lack money, why would she let you come to this place to buy groceries? When the auntie heard this, disdain appeared in her eyes and she sized up Director Lin. After sizing her up, she started to suspect that Director Lin lived in a high-end neighborhood because she didn't have money and wanted to save face. At this moment, Bei Yunji's hand paused and she looked up at her unhurriedly. My daughter, do you think money is important? Bei Yunji's smile didn't reach her eyes. She lazily put her phone back into her pocket and said, It's important. When the auntie heard this, she felt that this young lady was more sensible. She looked a little smug. Isn't that so? Young lady, tell me what kind of boyfriend you want. Find someone who's not very poor. Before the auntie could be happy, she heard Bei Yunji say slowly, in his 20s, pleasing to the eye, and has a few 100 million yuan in assets. That's fine too. Her tone sounded quite forced. 85. When the auntie heard this, her expression changed. She felt that Bei Yunji was deliberately playing with her. A few 100 million yuan in assets? The auntie's face darkened and she sneered sarcastically. Who did this little girl think she was? She wanted to find someone with a few 100 million yuan in assets? How could he like her? But doesn't your nephew have one? Bei Yunji's bright eyes revealed a hint of laziness and disdain. After that, Bei Yunji pulled Director Lin and left. Only the auntie was left behind. She was so angry that she was about to ascend to heaven. Does this little girl really think that she can eat just because she's pretty? How could someone with a few 100 million yuan like her? Not long after, another middle-aged woman who had witnessed all this carefully tugged at her sleeve. I was just joking with you. How can you joke like this? The middle-aged woman was so angry that she laughed. She had introduced them out of goodwill, yet she had been ridiculed by this little girl? The middle-aged woman was silent for a moment and looked at her again. Xiu He, do you not know Principal Lin? Last time, my grandson told me that the elder sister is the former dean of Yunqing University, and the daughter next to her is the daughter of the Qin Group. With that, she added, the Qin Corporation with a market value of hundreds of millions. As soon as he finished speaking, the middle-aged woman, who had been scolding just now, suddenly trembled and her legs almost went weak. What did you say? The middle-aged woman who knew the truth said frankly, if someone with a few 100 million yuan in assets can be liked by the young lady of the Qin family, I'm afraid he has to marry into her family. The people around who heard this also fell silent. Chapter 411. Bei Yunji accompanied Director Lin for half an hour. Just as she was about to return to the apartment, she suddenly received a call. It was from Tsing Su. Miss Bei? Bei Yunji asked, What's wrong? Is brother looking for me for something urgent? Tsing Su was silent for a moment, as if he was organizing his words. Then, Bei Yunji heard Tsing Su say, Miss Bei, it's like this. Your eldest brother, second brother, and third brother have all asked someone to send something over. However, it seems to be very expensive and needs you to check it. Hearing this, Bei Yunji suddenly remembered the key Qin Luyan had given her last time. He had sent the safe to the Huo Corporation? Then what did Qin Yu and Qin Lang send her? Bei Yunji's eyes twitched. Okay, then I'll come over in the afternoon. Okay, sorry to trouble you, Miss Pei. Master Du isn't around today. Otherwise, it would be the same if he signed for it. I'm having a meeting at the branch office too. I don't know if I can go back in the afternoon. It's all right. Thank you for your hard work. Bei Yunj smirked. After hanging up, Director Lin could not help asking, You're leaving in the afternoon? What time are you leaving? I'm going to the whole corporation to sign a package. Bei Yunj nodded. Director Lin hid the dimness in her eyes and smiled quickly. Okay, then Grandma will cook early. Bei Yunj looked at Director Lin. On the way, she suddenly asked, Grandma, are you free in the afternoon? Director Lin turned around. That's why. Then do you have time to accompany me to the company to sign for a package? After signing it, we'll go shopping. Bei Yunj said with a smile, but her eyes swept past Director Lin's sleeves that had turned white from washing. Hearing this, Director Lin's eyes lit up. Sure, Grandma will go to the mall to buy you some food. I'll leave it at home. Okay. Bei Yunj chuckled and opened the umbrella naturally to shield Director Lin from the sun. In the afternoon. At the Hua Corporation. Maching, Manager Qian dotes on you too much. He didn't even scold you when you were late. Two women were chatting at the desk. So what if you don't reprimand me? The Hua Corporation has a fingerprint card. If I'm late 3 times a month, my entire monthly salary will be automatically deducted. The woman said coquettishly, if you're late 5 times in 3 months, you'll be fired. You're still afraid of being fired? Your family is so rich. You carry bags that are worth tens of thousands and wear branded clothes. The short-haired woman was envious. By the way, where do you live? Hearing this, Himaching's smile froze. My house is quite far away. The neighborhood is usually very strict, so I can't bring anyone there. Unexpectedly, when the woman heard this, her expression became even more envious. It's a detached villa, right? I heard that some residential areas are especially luxurious and don't allow people to bring people in. Himaching smiled and patted her. How did you know? Although Himaching did not point it out in the eyes of others, Himaching admitted the fact that she lived in a villa. Seeing this, many people felt envious. However, in the Hua Corporation, there were many people who could afford to live in villas. However, most of them were employees on the 3rd floor and above. Not long after, a clear female voice rang out. Sister Shu, someone is looking for you. He said he's here to get a package. At this moment, the people on the 2nd floor were stunned. Coming to the Hua Corporation to get a package. What was going on? Wasn't it clearly stated that other than office supplies, no one was allowed to send anything to the company? Sister Shu doesn't seem to be around. Why don't you let that person wait outside? Chapter 412. Sister Shu doesn't seem to be around. Why don't you let that person wait outside? Hearing this, that person was stunned. Then I'll bring her to the VIP room? Himaching sneered. CEO Hong is in the VIP room. Can you take responsibility for offending him? Just get her to wait downstairs. This isn't too good. After all, she's here to look for Sister Shu. The woman with the bra was a little reserved. Himaching glanced at her with a hint of disdain and sarcasm in her eyes. Her face was full of superiority. Xianxia, you have to work hard too. A year ago, we were in the same batch of interns. Now, you're still the most marginal person on the 2nd floor. You might as well go home and sell fish for your mother. With that, Xianxia's face turned red and pale, but the others either laughed at her or buried themselves in their work and pretended not to hear. Everyone knew that Xianxia's family was not well off and she relied on her mother to sell fish to support her family. As for Himaching, she was wearing branded clothes and was still living in a villa. The difference in social status between the two of them was huge. I'll go and deliver tea to CEO Hong. Before Xianxia could leave, Himaching called out to her condescendingly. Xianxia stopped in her tracks and did not dare to turn back. At this moment, Himaching walked towards her and smiled softly. I'm afraid you can't take care of Xiao Hong. Let me send him off. As for the one who came to get the parcel, tell her not to go upstairs. Who knows if her hands and feet are clean? With that said, He Maching smiled and left confidently. When Xianxia left with an ugly expression, she bumped into He Maching touching up her makeup at the corner of the long corridor. On the second floor, He Maching was indeed one of the prettiest. Xianxia pursed her lips, adjusted her black-rimmed glasses, and went downstairs silently. She asked the front desk and found the young lady who was holding the parcel. 7 questions, Miss, may I know who you are? Halfway through Xianxia's sentence, Bei Yunj turned around. Her bright and beautiful face made one instantly dazed. However, there was no warmth in her beautiful eyes. After Xianxia came back to her senses, she immediately continued, You're Miss Pei who's here to collect the parcel, right? Bei Yunj replied, yes. At this moment, Xianxia felt that she had heard the surname, Pei, somewhere before. Yet he couldn't remember. Xianxia glanced at Bei Yunj and bowed seriously to Bei Yunj. I'm sorry, Miss Pei. Sister Shu isn't here. I might have to trouble you to wait here. While you're waiting, I'll be here with you. Is that okay? Hearing this, Bei Yunj glanced at Director Lin unconsciously. She asked, how long will it take? If Sister Shu wants to have a meeting, it will take at least 20 minutes and at most 40 minutes. Then can I go upstairs? Bei Yunj asked. Previously, when she came to the whole corporation, Seng Su had personally come down to pick her up. She had also used the exclusive elevator. This time, he did not expect that things would become so troublesome when Seng Su was not around. I may not have the right to do so, Xianxia said awkwardly. Supervisor Qian hated her to begin with. If Supervisor Qian used this as an excuse to make a fuss, she might be fired. If she were to resign, how would the family be able to handle it? Bei Yunj could tell that Xianxia was in a difficult position, so she did not insist. Instead, she sent Seng Su a message. But after a few minutes, the message was like a stone sinking into the sea. There was no reply. Chapter 4:13. Then I'll think of a way. Xianxia's face inexplicably heated up. Then her eyes lit up and she whispered to Bei Yunj, Miss Pei, my work desk is on the second floor. Why don't you and your grandmother come to my place first? Anyway, her work desk was at the edge and no one usually paid attention to it. Bei Yunj looked at the honest girl in front of her and couldn't help but chuckle. She smiled and her eyes seemed to light up. Okay, thank you, sister. However, when she went upstairs, Xianxia realized that something was wrong. Had she seen this lady's grandmother somewhere before? Xianxia couldn't help but ponder, but she didn't expect to see He Maching holding on to President Hong, who was in his 50s or 60s. Instantly, Xianxia was stunned. When He Maching saw Xianxia, her face almost distorted. She instinctively let go of President Hong's hand. What are you doing here? He Maching's face darkened as she questioned. I brought a guest. Panic flashed across Xianxia's eyes and she lowered her head guiltily. As for He Maching, her face darkened. She didn't expect Xianxia to dare to go against her. Before she could speak, she looked up and saw Director Lin. She instantly panicked. Why is that old fart next door here? She couldn't let these two people stay in the Hua Corporation. What if this old fart spouted nonsense in the company and told others that she only lived in a high-end apartment? What should she do? Director Lin also recognized He Maching and a smile appeared on her face. Isn't this he? Don't talk to me. Do I know you? He Maching interrupted her sternly, but she didn't notice that Bei Yunj's gaze had turned cold. Director Lin had always been easy to talk to, but after being stabbed, the smile on her face froze. Quick Reading Network, Xianxia, are you in cahoots with them? He Maching's sarcastic tone attracted the attention of many people because her voice wasn't soft. What nonsense are you talking about? Xianxia's face turned pale. I'm talking nonsense? Don't tell me she's your old mother, the one who sells fish? What about this woman? With that, He Maching sneered. Just as she was about to turn her head and continue mocking him, she unexpectedly bumped into a pair of cold eyes with a faint smile. For a moment, his scalp went numb. Who was this girl? After regaining her senses, the first thing He Maching noticed was Bei Yunj's impeccable face. Then she looked at Bei Yunj's clothes. There was no logo, and it didn't look like a brand new product. She was indeed just a good-looking little girl. This young lady is... Suddenly, Tiao Hong, who had been silent all this while, spoke. He Maching turned around and saw Co Hong staring at Bei Yunj. His eyes were filled with lust. Immediately, jealousy and hatred welled up in his heart. Co Hong, who knows if the people outside are clean? Let's go back. Changing the topic, He Maching looked at Jia arrogantly. Wang Jia, you'd better take her down now. Otherwise, I'll make you pack your things and scram this month. After saying this, Wang Jiagong's face paled. Suddenly, a faint sneer sounded behind him. What are you laughing at? Grandma, let's go to the third floor. The barking on the second floor is quite scary. Bei Yunj's lazy voice was arrogant and presumptuous as it sounded unhurriedly. But after saying that, He Maching's face darkened. What did you say? Chapter 4:14. As soon as she finished speaking, many people's inquisitive gazes landed on the three of them. Director Lin instinctively frowned and wanted to protect Bei Yunj behind her. Who knew? Bei Yunj suddenly laughed and asked in a lazy tone. Why, Miss He? Is your indenture contract hidden in the company? For a moment, the atmosphere on the field was hard to restrain. Director Lin and Wang Jelly beside her were stunned. They did not expect such a beautiful girl to say that. What did you say? Do you dare to say it again? He Maching's expression changed as she gritted her teeth and looked at Bei Yunj. Grandma, let's go upstairs. Bei Yunj held Director Lin's hand as if nothing had happened and slowly pressed the elevator button for the third floor. Seeing that Bei Yunj was ignoring her, He Maching almost went crazy with anger. She gritted her teeth. Who allowed you to go upstairs? However, Bei Yunj still brought the two of them up to the third floor without changing her expression. Miss He, since you're afraid that their hands and feet are dirty, I'll go upstairs and help you keep a lookout. With that said, Tiao Hong naturally entered another elevator, not giving He Maching any chance to reject him. Obviously, CEO Hong wasn't helping her keep a lookout. He had clearly taken a fancy to that woman just now. He Maching was furious and walked to Manager Qian's office with a dark face. In the VIP room on the third floor. Miss Pei, you're really amazing. Wang Jia couldn't help but praise her. She didn't dare to treat He Maching like that. Are you very afraid of her? Bei Yunj glanced at her. Wang Jia paused and handed the water she had just brought to Bei Yunj and Director Lin. After the two of them thanked her, Wang Jia said, I'm a peripheral figure in the company. Her boss likes her and her family is rich. Wang Jia forced a smile. It's inevitable that she feels inferior. Hearing this, Bei Yunj glanced at her and didn't say anything. But a few minutes later, an unfamiliar call came. It was Sister Shu, whom Tsing Su had arranged for her. Miss Pei, I'm really sorry. Something happened in the marketing department. I was in a hurry to make arrangements and forgot to ask someone to pick you up outside. Bei Yunj replied lazily, It's nothing. Then have you entered the company? Are you satisfied with their hospitality? Yes, Miss Wang Jia is quite good. After saying this, Sister Shu, who was on the other end of the phone, seemed to have almost forgotten about Wang Jia. When she remembered her, she immediately laughed. Really? Jia is quite hardworking in the company. Find an opportunity to arrange a better job for her this year. Tsing Su had a good relationship with her and had told her everything clearly. He could offend anyone but Miss Pei. You can continue with your work. Bei Yunj smiled. Alright, don't worry. I'll be there in 15 minutes. However, after the call, Bei Yunj did not expect that a young man would come up to the third floor faster than her. Miss Pei, is that you? Bei Yunj replied, Yes. It's like this. Your 3 boxes, I'll get someone to bring them to the third floor. After you've checked them, I'll send them back for you. Is that okay? Bei Yunj nodded. Okay, sorry to trouble you. You're welcome. It's no trouble at all. The young man instinctively lowered his head. He was a little embarrassed to look Bei Yunj in the eyes. He just smiled and touched his head. Until he left. CEO Hong returned to the VIP room. But because there were other people around, he could only talk to Bei Yunj occasionally. He seemed to be revealing how rich he was. Chapter 415. However, from the beginning to the end, Bei Yunj did not even look at him. The atmosphere was very awkward. Only Director Lin stared at him expressionlessly. It was as if in the next moment, the environmental bag that Director Lin was carrying could very well hit his head. At this moment, Himaching also came up aggressively with Manager Qian. Manager Qian, no matter what you say this time, you have to punish Wang Jia. Himaching attracted the attention of many other employees. Of course I will punish her. I will make Wang Jia and those two people scram together. Manager Qian sneered. Why didn't he know that the whole corporation was about to become a courier store? However, just as Manager Qian walked out of the elevator and towards the VIP room with a cold expression, an anxious voice sounded from behind. Don't walk so fast. You have to be careful with this thing, be careful. The two people who were carefully carrying the huge suitcase only paid attention to the suitcase in their hands and almost knocked Manager Qian to the ground. Brother, are you all right? I'm sorry. The person carrying the huge suitcase wanted to poke his head out to look at Manager Qian, but was completely blocked by the suitcase. He could only shout at the back. After apologizing, the two of them carried the suitcase into the VIP room. However, when Manager Qian saw this scene, he was so angry that smoke almost came out of his 7 orifices. However, before Supervisor Qian could start cursing, another 4 people came from behind, carrying 2 large safes. Everyone was stunned. What the heck? Packages are stored in safes? I almost thought that there were gold and silver treasures inside. Haha, did you see that suitcase clearly? It's a limited edition custom-made VIO. It costs 6 to 7 million yuan. It's hard to buy it even if you have money. Do you think a normal person would use this suitcase to store packages? Hearing this, everyone understood. So it was a high-end imitation. At this moment, Manager Qian had already walked into the VIP room with a dark expression. The others were also secretly watching. Xiao Hong deliberately said to Bei Yunj, "It's normal for girls to like luxury goods. But it's so cheap to buy a fake one. Why don't I buy you a real one?" Bei Yunj glanced at him with an impatient look in his eyes. "Do you have a lot of things to do?" Just as Xiao Hong was about to continue speaking, his eyes met with Bei Yunj's cold gaze, and he subconsciously felt a chill run down his spine. Subsequently, before Bei Yunj could take out the keys from her pocket, she heard Himaching speak arrogantly. "Manager Qian, it's this young lady who insisted on coming to the VIP room. Those who don't know better would think that she's someone from the whole corporation." Manager Qian's face darkened and he sneered. "Miss Pei, you said that your sister Shu's guest. Do you have evidence?" Hearing this, Wang Jia immediately explained. "Supervisor Qian, she really is." Big Sister Shu said. "Shut up. Who are you to speak here?" Supervisor Qian glanced at her coldly and reprimanded her. Wang Jia's face turned red and white. But surprisingly, she still insisted. "No matter what, Miss Pei is indeed Big Sister Shu's guest. This package also says Miss Pei. If you chase Miss Pei out, Big Sister Shu will be angry." Seeing that Wang Jia still dared to refute him, Manager Qian felt that Wang Jia was becoming more and more daring. He sneered. "All right, then I want to see if Big Sister Shu will appear here." As soon as he finished speaking, Bei Yunj glanced at him casually and then took out a key. "Are you going to stand here and watch me open the package?" Chapter 416. Why do you have gold inside? Manager Qian's tone was sarcastic and disdainful. When Bei Yunj heard this, she glanced at him unhurriedly and did not say anything. She turned around and looked at the 2 safes and leather suitcases. Her eyelids twitched. Suddenly, Bei Yunj received a message. She opened it and realized that it was from Qin Lang. "Qin Lang, the password of the safe is 6 asterisk 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 asterisk. Third brother will send the key to you alone." Bei Yunj was speechless. Suddenly, Himaching's sarcastic voice sounded. "But, Are you too ashamed to open the safe? Don't you dare to use Vio's imitation to store things? Bei Yunj did not look at her at all. After putting her phone back into her pocket, she thanked the six of them. This lazy attitude made Himaching grit her teeth in anger. She wanted to see how this woman could continue pretending. Using a safe to store things, she really thought that her things were precious. The next moment, Bei Yunj identified the safe that Qin Luyan had given her and her eyebrows twitched unconsciously. Last time, Qin Luyan had told her that this was not something precious. It was just some small accessories and materials for her to play with. Thinking of this, Bei Yunj took out the key and decided to open Qin Luyan's. Who knew, when she opened the safe door, more than 10 pearls and diamonds the size of pigeon eggs squeezed out. No one could laugh at the scene. Bei Yunj was speechless. Wang Jia was the first to react. She immediately picked up the pearls and diamonds all over the floor. They had never seen such big pearls and diamonds in their lives. Although it looked quite real, it still looked quite real. Miss Pei, your pearls and diamonds? Wang Jia placed the diamonds and pearls on the table in fear and trepidation. When the others heard this, they felt that Wang Jia was probably stupid. These pearls and diamonds were so big, did they look real? Until they saw Bei Yunj pick up a ruby necklace and stuff the pearls and diamonds from just now into it casually. Everyone could not help but feel their hearts ache. Although they knew that the jewelry was fake, their hearts still ached when they saw it being treated like this. Suddenly, a girl sighed. That ruby necklace really looks like the eye of the god of creation. The eye of the god of creation was sold 3 years ago for 520 million. It was bought by a rich collector. This young lady's high-quality imitation is exactly the same as the real one. The more the crowd listened, the more they felt an inexplicable strange feeling. Bei Yunj's eyes were filled with impatience from the commotion and she glanced at the restless crowd. The next moment, everyone subconsciously shut their mouths. Just sign for it. Bei Yunj was not in the mood to continue driving. Miss, please open it. The person who spoke felt his scalp go numb. If these were lost, even if the 6 of them went to the black market to sell their organs, they wouldn't be able to afford it. Bei Yunj, not long after. Bei Yunj continued to open the suitcase. Inside were some fashionable leather bags and clothing accessories. There were about 20 to 30 of them, and they were casually stuffed into the suitcase. It looked like it was bought from a wholesale market. The people watching unconsciously heaved a sigh of relief. That's not bad. It was just a leather bag. Look at that khaki-colored one. Doesn't it look like the same style as Princess Oprah's? I heard that there are only 2 in the world. Don't say such weird things, okay? This was a high-quality imitation. Everyone hypnotized themselves. Chapter 417. But then again, why didn't they see any WeChat merchants selling such high-quality imitations? Just as everyone was struggling to figure out what was going on, a trace of doubt appeared in their hearts. Suddenly, Bei Yunj took out a bag and turned to ask, "Grandma, how do you usually store food in this bag?" Everyone was speechless. It was true. This is very expensive, right? Director Lin had a feeling that the things bought by the 3 young masters of the Qin family would not be cheap. It's all right, Bei Yunj said slowly. The brand of this bag seemed to be created by Jasmine's grandfather. A few times Jasmine's father wanted to send her some, but she did not need them, so she rejected them. Okay, this looks quite waterproof. Director Lin was happy. Bei Yunj glanced at him and nodded very respectfully. Everyone was speechless. Was a high-quality imitation not worthy of being treated well? Used to store food? Suddenly, a strange light flashed across Manager Qian's eyes and he sneered. Do you know that it's illegal to produce high-quality imitation luxury goods? Even if Bei Yunj did not make it, Bei Yunj had bought so many fake goods. He could deliberately report her for illegal trafficking. Manager Qian sneered. I'll call the police now. Let's see how arrogant you can be. With that, Wang Jia immediately panicked. But before she could explain, she heard a dignified female voice. Hey, Qian Di, who do you want to call the police to arrest? As soon as she finished speaking, Everyone did not even dare to join in the fun, afraid that they would be caught by the female devil. When Manager Qian heard this voice, his smile froze. Why was Sister Shu really here? Shu. Manager Qian slowly turned his head. When he saw Sister Shu, he was about to flatter her when he saw Sister Shu walk to Bei Yunj. Miss Pei, I'm really sorry to have made you wait here for so long. At this moment, everyone froze. What did Sister Shu mean? This was the VIP room. Actually, there's a lounge on the 6th floor. If Assistant Seng is not around next time, I'll take you there. Sister Shu smiled. Everyone was speechless. Only the big shots of the top management deserved to have the lounge on the 6th floor. Nothing, I just came to check on the delivery. When Sister Shu heard this, she smiled and looked at Principal Lin again, her eyes full of admiration. You must be Dean Lin Longjun? I used to be from Yunqing University, but I didn't have the chance to meet you. In an instant, Wang Jia was stunned. Who was it? President Lin Longjun? Wang Jia suddenly raised her head and looked at Director Lin. She suddenly remembered why this person looked so familiar. On the commendation wall of Yunqing University, wasn't this person standing next to the former principal? Not only Wang Jia, but everyone else also suspected that they were dreaming. What did Sister Shu just say? However, Sister Shu stood at the side and was still chatting with Bei Yunj. She smiled gently and said, one of these bags is in the hands of Oprah. I didn't expect that CEO Qin would buy the other one for you. He didn't buy this. He bought the things in the first safe. Qin Yu had bought these bags. So that's how it is. I forgot that the other two young masters of the Qin family also dote on you. Sister Shu laughed involuntarily. Pei Yunja's lips twitched and she opened the third box. It was a gift from Qin Lang. They were all raw stones like Hetian jade, and Dushan jade that Qin Lang liked to collect in the past, as well as a few calligraphy and paintings. Qin Lang had asked her to take a photo with him last time. Chapter 418. Bei Yunj picked up the photo casually and suddenly felt something hard on the back of the photo. She flipped it over instinctively. She did not expect a bank card to be pasted on the back. Then, just as Bei Yunj had yet to regain her senses, someone suddenly approached her from behind. Who gave this to you? Bei Yunj turned back instinctively and saw Qin Yu's arrogant and handsome face. Then, before Bei Yunj could speak, Qin Yu saw the photo and narrowed his good-looking eyes. He snorted coldly. No wonder he didn't show me what he sent. He never thought that Qin Lang would do such a thing behind his back. This card. Before Bei Yunj could finish speaking, Qin Yu seemed to know what Bei Yunj was thinking. This card seems to be the bonus and salary that Qin Lang has saved up from competitions over the years. After Qin Yu finished explaining, he specially explained, actually, it's not much. Second brother has saved more than him. Bei Yunj was speechless. She really could not understand what these three people were trying to do. At this moment, when the people not far away saw this scene, they felt like they were in a dream. This was Qin Yu. It was their first time seeing Qin Yu coax this young lady like this. F***ck, did you hear that? Did Qin Yu call himself second brother just now? He even said that Qin Lang gave him that card? Someone suddenly regained their senses. Everyone was speechless. They weren't deaf, okay? Then this Bei Yunj, who was on the trending searches previously, right? The person beside her is Director Lin Longjun. Everyone was speechless. They had been so focused on Qin Yu's face that they had forgotten such important information. In the electronic library, the elder young lady of the Qin family, F***ck, she's so good-looking. Instantly, everyone could not help but be shocked. This face is too good-looking. I'm willing to exchange 10 lifetimes of my IQ for her looks. Boo-hoo. The boy beside her muttered softly, first of all, you have to have IQ. The round-faced girl gave the boy who spoke a death smile. The boy, did women nowadays not like to hear the truth? At this moment, many people couldn't help but look at Bei Yunj curiously after learning of her identity. After all, this was the real young miss of the Qin family. However, Himaching, Manager Qian, and CEO Hong's expressions were especially stiff. She was actually the eldest daughter of the Qin family, especially Himaching, who had suddenly found out about Bei Yunji's identity. She was afraid and jealous. Why did Bei Yunji have such a good life? She was born a rich heiress and was doted on by 3 older brothers? What about her? In order not to let others look down on her, she gritted her teeth and moved into a high-end apartment. In order to buy branded clothes, she had to please the supervisor and seduce the greasy boss of the company. Himaching could not help but clench her fists and look at Bei Yunji sinisterly. Who knew? Suddenly, Sister Shu turned around and met Himaching's eyes. Himaching was shocked. Seeing this, Sister Shu curled her lips coldly and looked at Supervisor Qian first. Supervisor Qian, why did you call the police to arrest Miss Pei just now? Tell me clearly. With that said, Supervisor Qian felt a cold gaze appear in Qin Yu's eyes and it landed on him. He was so scared that his legs almost went weak. This is a misunderstanding, Sister Shu. Chapter 419. These words made Qin Yu laugh. However, his handsome and noble face was covered in coldness and his tone was exceptionally dangerous. You dare to arrest my sister and take her to the police station just because of a misunderstanding? Oh no. Manager Qian's face paled and a chill ran down his spine. No? Then tell me, what did the elder young miss of the Qin family do that you want to send her to the police station? Qin Yu looked at him, but his smile did not reach his eyes. His gaze was clearly saying, if you don't give me an explanation today, I'll let you say goodbye to this beautiful world. But I was really wrong, Mr. Qin. Manager Qian wanted to cry. How could he have known that this was actually the elder young miss of the Qin family? But now, he had been instigated by someone else and thought that the dozens of bags Bei Yunji had gotten must be high-quality imitations. Before Manager Qian could push the blame away, he heard Sister Shu say, Mr. Qin, I think I vaguely heard Manager Qian say that Miss Pei's bags are fake. He wants to report Miss Pei for selling imitation luxury goods. With that said, Manager Qian's legs almost turned to jelly and he almost didn't dare to breathe under Qin Yu's murderous gaze. You're really good. Is the bag I gave you fake? Qin Yu snorted and asked coldly. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Did Qin Yu buy this? Didn't Qin Yu say back then that this kind of fancy branded bag was the most worthless thing? Then what was he doing now? Buying limited edition bags wholesale for his sister. Indeed, one could not believe a word this D*Emin man said. Mr. Qin, no. How can what you bought be fake? Manager Qian was afraid of offending Qin Yu and immediately found a scapegoat. It's her. Himaching told me. Manager Qian turned around and slapped Himaching, almost slapping her to the ground. He said fiercely, B*T, are you trying to harm me on purpose? You were the one who told me that Miss Pei's grandmother lives next door to you. You even said that Miss Pei's grandmother doesn't look like a good person and looks poor. Hearing this, the others felt that something was wrong. Doesn't Himaching live in a villa? Principal Lin lives next door to her? Someone couldn't help but ask. Manager Qian, who felt that he had been used by Himaching, sneered. Live in a villa? How many more men does she have to sleep with before she can fulfill this wish? Qian Di. Himaching's tone was sharp. She didn't expect Manager Qian to fall out with her in public. Bitch, did I say something wrong? Can you afford the branded clothes you're wearing? Manager Qian's tone was disdainful. As for the others, when they heard this explosive gossip, they couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. So Himaching wasn't a rich young lady? To think that all these branded clothes were obtained in this way, instantly, the way everyone looked at Himaching changed. Himaching could not stand everyone's strange gazes and could not help but scream. She flew into a rage out of humiliation and went up to grab Manager Qian's face. After Supervisor Qian was scratched, he became even angrier. He grabbed Himaching's hair and slammed it against the table. Everyone was dumbfounded by this scene. Then, the boys came back to their senses and immediately went forward to pull Supervisor Qian away. You be asterisk, how dare you catch me? If it wasn't for me, would you have F asterisk king stayed in the whole corporation? After Manager Qian felt the burning pain on his face, he cursed even more. Chapter 420. This be asterisk. If it wasn't for his support, would she be able to stay in the whole corporations? She actually dared to lay a hand on him. The more Manager Qian thought about it, the angrier he became. He laughed coldly. He moching, you're a bus that anyone can get on. Why are you still pretending to be a rich young lady? Why don't you see if you're worthy? You said that Wang Jia smells like fish, but what about you? Your father is just a stall seller. How dare you talk about others? Qian Di. He Moching's facade was exposed and she immediately screamed in despair. In the next moment, seeing Qian Di's ugly expression, a ferocious look flashed past He Moching's face and she laughed out loud again. Qian Di, who are you? Didn't you sleep with me back then? When your wife was pregnant, didn't you do it with me? He wanted to destroy her? Alright, then go to hell with her. He Moching's eyes were filled with hatred and madness. Instantly, the people around widened their eyes. They did not expect such a thing to happen. No wonder Manager Qian treated He Moching so well usually, so these two people had such a relationship behind the scenes. Manager Qian's expression froze. He did not expect He Moching to dare to say this. This woman was crazy. She was really crazy. Manager Qian, it seems like you're very happy to be in this position. At this moment, Sister Shu laughed. Sister Shu, no, she seduced me on purpose. Don't listen to this be asterisk. Before Manager Qian could finish speaking, he heard Sister Shu say coldly, the company has a clear rule that you can't have any transactions with your subordinates or superiors. This is one of the reasons. Secondly, it's my first time hearing that you want to send an important guest of the company to the police station. Manager Qian, you're really something. No, Sister Shu, believe me. I really didn't know Miss Pei's identity. Who would have known that an important guest was only coming to the company to get a package? Who would have known that this package was not an ordinary package? You don't know Miss Pei's identity? Miss Pei has an appointment, so she's my guest. So, you want to target my guest? In an instant, Manager Qian's face was pale and he was at a loss for words. He knew that he would definitely be implicated if he offended the elder young miss of the Qin family this time and Qin Yu found out. But now, Sister Shu's attitude was that she wanted to dismiss him. Today, you and He Moching will pack your things and leave. Oh right, Wang Jia can be considered a veteran. Her performance has always been good. She will take over the position of the supervisor in the future. Elder Sister Shu said expressionlessly. However, regardless of whether it was the first sentence or the second sentence, they both caused the crowd to boil over. Manager Qian had so many connections in the company. How could Sister Shu chase him away just like that? This new replacement was the most marginal person on the second floor? At first, everyone didn't understand. Then, they suddenly realized that the only person who had been speaking up for Miss Pei and Director Lin was Wang Jia. What kind of luck did Wang Jia have? The moment Manager Qian stepped down, she became the person with the highest position on the second floor. At this moment, Wang Jia also felt like she was in a dream. She had just been scolded by Supervisor Qian, and now she had replaced Supervisor Qian's position. After regaining her senses, Wang Jia immediately said excitedly, Thank you, Sister Shu. I'll do my best. Why are you thanking me? Sister Shu smiled and glanced at Bei Yunj. In the end, she did not say anything. Chapter 421. How could this be? How could Sister Shu fire him? It wasn't just Manager Qian. He Moching, who was beside him, also looked like she was having a mental breakdown. Her expression looked like she was crying and laughing at the same time. How could this be? How could the old thing living next door be the former dean of Yunqing University that they were talking about? Since this girl was the eldest daughter of the Qin family, why did she only let this old thing live in a high-end district? Before He Moching could regain her senses, her phone kept ringing. When she took it out to take a look, she realized that the person who had been calling her was Xiao Li, the person in charge of the district. He Maching didn't want to offend him, so she immediately picked up the call. However, she didn't expect to hear Xiao Li say coldly, "Miss He, I'm sorry. I'll have to trouble you to move next week." What do you mean? Why should I move? You don't meet the conditions for our apartment, so you have to move. Xiao Li put on a fake smile. Miss, you know very well that the best apartment in our district is the one you live in. But the price we offered you isn't high either. Because you're not the one picking the apartment, but the apartment picking the person. The last sentence seemed to have a deeper meaning. When He Maching thought about how she had just been fired by the whole corporation and was now forced to move, resentment and anger rose in her heart. It's you. You did it. He Maching turned around and gritted her teeth as she looked at Bei Yunj. How dare you treat me like this? Why wouldn't I dare? Bei Yunj sneered. His lazy eyes were indescribably arrogant as he asked unhurriedly. He Maching didn't expect that with so many people around, Bei Yunj would dare to admit it directly. You'll get retribution. Just because you don't like me, you're deliberately taking revenge on me. Miss He, you're thinking too much. I'm thinking too much? Then why should I move out? Hearing this, Bei Yunj looked up unhurriedly. After looking at her for a while, he asked with a faint smile, Why should I rent the house under my name to you? As soon as he finished speaking. At first, everyone didn't understand, but then they had a bold guess. Could it be that the eldest miss of the Qin family bought her house by building? Everyone froze, and He Maching's face turned pale. You bought an entire floor? Director Lin turned around and couldn't help but ask. Bei Yunj, one. Director Lin, everyone, the world of the rich was unimaginable. Why are you buying one? Director Lin had always advocated frugality, which was the same as most of the intellectuals of that era. All corrupt practices were strictly prohibited. Last time, the former principal of Yun University was so angry that he punished his grandson for buying shoes that cost hundreds of thousands of yuan. After her daughter recovered, she bought the entire building. Bei Yunj could tell that Director Lin was unhappy. She immediately held Director Lin's hand. Her beautiful eyes were exceptionally clear. There's a discount, Grandma. Everyone. It turned out that rich people also like to buy things on sale. In hindsight, everyone's gaze unconsciously landed on the 3 chests. So, this was really a box of jewelry, a box of branded bags, and a box of jade antiques? My legs are going to go weak. The pearl that just rolled out is actually real. Whoa, such a big pearl. It was poverty that limited her imagination. How could there be such a big pearl and diamond in this world? Chapter 422. Don't you think we should pay more attention to that eye of the god of creation? 2 years ago, it was sold for hundreds of millions. Even now, it would be doubled. When everyone thought of how Bei Yunj had casually stuffed the eye of the god of creation back into the safe just now, their hearts skipped a beat. Did this woman have a heart of stone? Was such a rare piece of jewelry not worthy of her gentleness? The female staff present looked at Bei Yunj and started to wonder if she had saved the world in her previous life. Or had she made a huge contribution to human society? Otherwise, why was she so lucky? She was a rich young lady and had 3 male idols. After dealing with these 3 boxes, the others left. He Maching and Manager Qian were also taken away by Sister Shu. Why are you here? Bei Yunj looked up at Qin Yu and asked. Aren't you going back to the old mansion today? Second brother will accompany you to get your things. Qin Yu could not suppress the smile on his lips, and he became even happier. He had finally waited for this day. Hearing this, Bei Yunj's eyes darkened and she remembered that Huashidu had mentioned this to her last time. Bei Yunj hid the strange look in her eyes. I want to go to the mall with Grandma first before sending her back. That's good. Second brother drove here. Can second brother send Grandma Lin back? Qin Yu's dark eyes were bright as he looked at Bei Yunj pitifully. Bei Yunj pursed her red lips unconsciously. However, before Bei Yunj could speak, she heard Director Lin say with a smile, "Okay. If you have the chance in the future, Mr. Qin can come and visit me. Grandma Lin, if you agree, why don't you call me you? When my grandmother was still alive, she liked to call me that too." Qin Yu turned to look at Director Lin and said with a smile, "Good child, good." Director Lin nodded and grabbed Qin Yu's hand with a smile. Instead, she let go of Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj turned to look at Director Lin instinctively. "You is so handsome. If he were my grandson, I'd be happy too," Director Lin said with a smile. "If you're willing, I can do that. After all, you're the one who raised Gu. You're the benefactor of our Qin family." Qin Yu was good-looking to begin with, and when he smiled, it was impossible for people to dislike him. Principal Lin smiled and shook his head. To be honest, she was unwilling to return Gu to the Qin family. Luckily, the Qin family treated Gu very well. On the way, Bei Yunj followed by the side without a word, listening to Director Lin and Qin Yu chat. Until they arrived at the mall. Bei Yunj took Director Lin to a clothing store and picked out many sets of clothes for Director Lin to try. Once she thought that it was not bad, Bei Yunj would buy all of them. She was so fast that Qin Yu, who was beside her, did not even have time to pay to leave a good impression. After coming out, Director Lin looked at the 4 big paper bags that were stuffed to the brim. She immediately grabbed Bei Yunj's hand and wanted to leave as soon as possible. She didn't dare to shop anymore. Bei Yunj found an excuse to go to the restroom in the shopping mall. At this moment, Director Lin turned around and saw Qin Yu, whose face was covered tightly, holding a card in his hand. However, he did not have the time to take it out from the beginning to the end. Director Lin laughed. Did you make Gur angry before?" Hearing this, Qin Yu was stunned for a moment before his dark eyes gradually darkened. He gripped the card in his hand tightly unconsciously and a word rolled out of his throat with difficulty. Chapter 423. It's okay. Gur is easy to coax. She'll forgive you. Director Lin smiled. How could she not tell that this big boy was really good to Bei Yunj? However, when Qin Yu heard this, his throat tightened and he lowered his head even more. There was an imperceptible bitter smile in his voice. "But I've done something unforgivable." It made him want to kill himself back then. Qin Yu pulled down the brim of his hat and the redness in his eyes could not be seen clearly. However, his voice was a little hoarse. He laughed helplessly. "It doesn't matter if you forgive me or not. It's okay. I'll treat Gur well for the rest of my life." What right did he have to get Gur's forgiveness? Director Lin was stunned for a moment before she smiled helplessly. Her turbid eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. Director Lin patted Qin Yu's shoulder and helped him adjust his sleeves. She was kind and gentle. "Our Yu is actually a good child, right?" It was not the first time Director Lin had seen Qin Yu. On the contrary, Qin Yu had looked for her many times, wanting to support Gu. "Take good care of Gur for Grandma, okay?" Director Lin and Qin Yu sat in the resting area at the side. Qin Yu heard Director Lin say with a helpless smile, "In the past, Gu was gloomy and looked very lonely. Now Gu looks very good, but her eyes make me feel that she's very lonely. But how many more years can I look forward to? How can I take care of her forever?" In the past, she was afraid that if she passed away, no one would take care of Gu. Now that she saw that so many people doted on her, she was relieved. Grandma will definitely live to be 100 years old. With that said, Qin Yu added, "In Gur's heart, no one can replace your position in her heart." When Bei Yunj returned, Director Lin watched as she brought over 4 big bags of things. Unlike her usual self, she did not complain that Bei Yunj had bought too much. Instead, she took the paper bag from Bei Yunj's hand and handed it to Qin Yu. She asked Qin Yu to hold it for her. This made Bei Yunj look at Qin Yu unconsciously. Electronic bookstore. After a moment of silence, she said, "Thank you." You have to be polite to your elders," Director Lin reminded her with a smile. Bei Yunj glanced at Qin Yu and was silent for a while. "Thank you, second brother." As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Yu froze. What did he hear? Did Gu just call him second brother? Fine. Qin Yu took a deep breath unconsciously and suppressed his excitement. Pei Yunj also nodded very affectionately before she picked up the other bags and left. Along the way, Qin Yu called out to even more frequently, his face like a spring breeze. While waiting for the traffic light, he took out his phone out of boredom. Suddenly, he remembered the group chat. Bei Yunj parents, Qin Yu. Just now, I heard the words I wanted to hear the most in my life. Qin Yu, I really want to share my happiness with all of you at all members. Qin Lang, are you crazy? Qin Luyen, homeroom teacher, slowly typing a question mark. JPG, Qin Yu. I'm sorry, Teacher Hawen. I forgot you were here too. Kiss, kiss. The homeroom teacher of class 7, who was preparing for class at home, could not help but feel his eyelids twitch. He really knew too much in this group. If others knew how the 3 young masters of the Qin family were jealous of their younger sister in the group, they would probably make the headlines. Chapter 424. The moment Teacher Wen sent this, Qin Yu's message popped up again. Qin Yu said thank you to me just now. Qin Lang, you don't have to thank me if you're close, understand? Grin, Qin Yu. She even called me second brother, instantly. The entire group fell silent. Teacher Wen, who had been watching the screen, also felt his eyelids twitch. He did not expect the Qin family to be so obsessed with their sister. Could Bei Yunj's second brother be exchanged for gold? Did he have to show it off? Just as Teacher Wen felt that it was ridiculous, the atmosphere in the group became even worse. Qin Lang, smile, 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 smile. Qin Yu, red packet, congratulations. Qin Yu, red packet, congratulations. Qin Yu, red packet, congratulations. This rain of red packets made Qin Lang, who was sitting in the club, so angry that he almost fumed. He knew that this B** starred was up to no good. He said that he had an event today and could not return to the old mansion to make him lower his guard. In the end, he went to look for Gu behind his back. Was there anything more inhumane than Qin Yu? Brother Lang, what's wrong? A member of the club beside him asked carefully. I'm fine. Taking a deep breath, Qin Lang slammed his phone on the table and continued training. This scene caused the surrounding members to be confused and frightened. The small group was also asking. Member 1, what's wrong with Brother Lang? Is his ex-girlfriend pregnant? Member 2, stop talking nonsense. Brother Lang is a virgin. Where did his ex-girlfriend come from? Member 1, then look at his expression. It looks like his girlfriend was stolen. What's going on? Member 3, have you forgotten that other than girlfriends, there's another creature that can turn a homebody into a fighter? Member 3, biological sister. Brother Lang's biological sister. Member 1. The truth is out. Last time, I saw that Brother Lang's sister was very pretty online and wanted to contact her. In the end, Brother Lang made me clean the toilet for half a month and said that he wanted me to wake up. Member 2, +1. Biological sisters might not be treasured by others, but those who look like little fairies definitely will. I wonder if Brother Lang's sister will come for the friendly match. Member 3, don't let your imagination run wild. If you take one more look at Brother Lang's sister, Brother Lang will let you cut the queue and reincarnate. After sending Director Lin back, Qin Yu drove Bei Yunj back to Huashidu's place to get her luggage. Miss Pei, this is... Auntie Miao had just finished cooking. The moment she came out, she saw Qin Yu helping Bei Yunj bring her luggage home. I went home to accompany my grandfather. Upon hearing Bei Yunj's words, Auntie Miao's eyes were filled with reluctance. Is Miss Pei coming back? How can I trouble Master Du to take care of my gu? Qin Yu smiled. Is the eldest young lady of our Qin family. Of course we will take good care of her. Aunt Miao, take good care of yourself too. I'm done tidying up. Bei Yunj was holding a notebook, and the rest were placed in the box. The other things were not brought by her either. He didn't take it away. Aren't you going to have a meal before leaving? Auntie Miao looked like her daughter was about to leave, her expression full of reluctance. No need. The old mansion has already prepared dinner. The old master is waiting for Gur at home. With that said with a smile, Qin Yu thanked Auntie Meow. Seeing how reluctant Auntie Meow was to part with her, he could tell that Auntie Meow must have taken good care of Gur usually. Seeing this, Auntie Meow stopped trying to dissuade him and could only watch helplessly as Qin Yu drove back to the old mansion. P.S. Be good and remember to vote. Chapter 425. About half an hour later, Huashidu returned, only to find that Auntie Meow had just heated up dinner in the living room. Mr. Hua, you're back. Coincidentally, the food is hot. Auntie Meow smiled. Where's Yun Yun? Huashidu's well-defined hands pulled off his tie casually. Then he looked down and unbuttoned his sleeves. Miss Pei returned to the old mansion today. Did you forget? Auntie Meow was stunned for a moment before she answered. Hearing Auntie Meow say this, Huashidu finally remembered that old Master Qin had asked him to tell Yun Yun last time. He would let Yun Yun stay at the old mansion for a week or two first. After old Master Qin's birthday banquet, he would fetch Yun Yun back. After Huashidu regained his senses, he said, Yun Yun has been staying at the Qin family's old mansion for the past 2 weeks. Auntie Meow, you can rest for a while. 2 weeks? From what second young Master Qin said, Miss Pei doesn't seem to be coming back. Auntie Meow muttered softly. These words made Huashidu, who was about to go upstairs, stop in his tracks. Not coming back? Huashidu's low and calm voice was a little ambiguous. Who said that? Second young Master Qin. Miss Pei stood at the side and didn't say anything. She probably thinks so. Auntie Meow said straightforwardly. Hearing this, Huashidu's cold fingers rubbed against hers slowly. After a while, he walked up again. All right, I got it. Mr. Hua, your dinner, I'll eat later. Hearing this, Auntie Meow could not help but have a headache. In the past, when Miss Pei was not around, Mr. Hua had never allowed her to eat and did not cherish her health at all. However, after Miss Pei came, Mr. Hua started to change. At least, he would eat on time every day. But now, Auntie Meow saw that Mr. Hua had not changed at all. He was only willing to eat with Miss Pei every day. In the Qin family's old mansion. Grandpa, why don't you call Qin Yu to hurry him up? Is Qin Yu doing this on purpose? Do you want him to stay with Gur alone? Suppressing his temper, Qin Lang walked to old Master Qin. Old Master Qin's eyelid twitched. Gu still has to go to Shidu. How can she be so fast? That's true, but Qin Yu isn't a good person. Qin Lang could not help but mutter. The corners of old Master Qin's mouth twitched. He looked at his anxious grandson and then at his eldest grandson, who was sitting on the sofa and working. Are you good people? Don't you know how many times you've come to the old mansion when Gur isn't around? Now, she was in a hurry to live in the old house. Not long after, there was a sound at the door. Old Master Qin and the rest looked up and saw Qin Yu smiling with a beautiful girl beside him. It was their Gu. Bei Yunj didn't say much along the way. When she looked up and saw old Master Qin, she smiled. Grandpa. What's wrong, Gu? Why do I feel like you're unhappy? Old Master Qin reached out to touch Bei Yunj's head and deliberately teased her. You don't like living with me? How could this be? Bei Yunj smiled. When she turned around, she realized that Qin Lang and Qin Luyen were both there. Seeing that old Master Qin was staring at her, Bei Yunj narrowed her eyes and said, Big brother, third brother. The moment she finished speaking, Qin Luyen and Qin Lang were also stunned. The atmosphere inexplicably fell into a chill. Was Gu willing to call them that just now? Suddenly, Qin Lang understood why Qin Yu had sent so many red packets just because she called him second brother. Chapter 426. Qin Luyen did not seem to be affected. He responded calmly and sat on the sofa. Qin Lang's heart was beating wildly and he could not suppress the corners of his lips. Gu, do you want to take a look at your room first? I'll go alone. With that said, Qin Yu had already taken the initiative to carry Bei Yunj's luggage upstairs. Seeing this, Bei Bei Yunj could not say anything else and only followed Qin Yu upstairs. Qin Lang, who was trying his best to suppress his emotions, sat on the sofa and could not help but take out his phone. He scrolled through his WeChat moments and liked them crazily. At the same time, it attracted the doubts of his WeChat moments. Brother Lang, did your account get hacked? Brother Lang, why are you liking our opponent's player? The coach has already gone to get the knife. F***sige Brother Lang, don't scare me. I just heard 2 days ago that you don't like women. Now you're liking my WeChat moments? No way, no way? Dog Qin, are you crazy? I was F***king hit by a car. Why are you liking it? Qin Lang was in a good mood. He ignored those people who were spewing nonsense and flipped through the list happily. However, he also noticed with his sharp eyes that Qin Luyan kept sending red packets in the Qin Corporation's management group. Qin Lang looked up at Qin Luyan, who had a cold and composed expression. He was indeed different on the inside. Upstairs. The moment Bei Yunj pushed open the door, she saw a pink decoration. What's wrong, Ge? Why are you standing there? Do you like it a lot? Second brother and your third brother specially arranged it. After Qin Yu put Bei Yunj's luggage in, he said happily. This was the pink princess room that he and Qin Lang had spent a lot of effort to design. Bei Yunj was speechless. Although she did not hate pink, it was difficult for her to fall asleep with such a strong visual impact. Bei Yunj thought for a moment and asked tactfully, "Are there any other rooms?" "What's wrong? Ger doesn't like it?" Qin Yu asked instinctively, staring at her unblinkingly. Bei Yunj's eyes flashed. "I'm fine. You rest first. When it's time for dinner, I'll call you upstairs." "All right." After watching Qin Yu go downstairs, Bei Yunj walked to the other side of the long corridor. She pushed open the door of the guest room. After making sure that no one was staying, she put her things in. However, Bei Yunj did not notice that the guest room seemed to have just been cleaned. That night, Bei Yunj accompanied Old Master Qin for dinner. Other than Old Master Qin, there were also Qin Luyan and the other two at home. It looked very lively. But for some reason, Bei Yunj still felt a sense of loss. Is the food at home not to your liking? Why do you seem to be eating so little? Old Master Qin asked worriedly. After Bei Yunj came back to her senses, she picked up more food and said, "No." Seeing this, Old Master Qin didn't say anything else, but looking at his granddaughter, his heart was like a mirror. If it wasn't because the food wasn't good, then it was because the person he wanted to see wasn't here. After going upstairs, Bei Yunj was flipping through her book as usual, but her phone was not on silent mode. Soon her phone rang. In less than 3 seconds, Bei Yunj picked up her phone and answered the call. Who knew? It was Delaney's voice from the other end. "Miss Pei isn't busy?" Delaney was flattered. He did not expect Bei Yunj to answer the call so quickly. Chapter 427. What's the matter? Bei Yunj asked. Actually, it's not a big deal. Delaney chuckled. I'm going to Yunqing in half a month too. Why don't we arrange a time to go out for a meal? Bei Yunj said, I don't have time. I have to prepare for the monthly exam. Delaney was speechless. Was there a more perfunctory reason than this? Will you take a look at the professional league on the maps of the gods? Delaney asked carefully. This was Bei Yunj's third brother's competition after all. He should be there, right? I don't have time. Bei Yunj still used the same words. Delaney was speechless. Was the Qin family cutting ties with Bei Yunj? All right then. Delaney could not hide his sigh. Originally, he really wanted to meet Bei Yunj when he came to Yunqing this time. After all, to be able to have such a scientific research level at such a young age, he would definitely be an amazing person in the future. He felt that his brat was very lucky to be able to let Tich do scientific research with such a person. My brat was still clamoring to come and see you. Then I'll tell him. Bei Yunj suddenly interrupted him. Is Tich coming too? Delaney said without hesitation, yes. Then let him come. Jasmine will come over when he's free. Bei Yunj's words made Delaney suddenly feel that he was inferior to his son. He was a big boss with one of the top 3 assets in the world, yet he was inferior to his silly son. The next moment, before Delaney could feel indignant, he heard Bai Yunj suddenly speak. Delaney, I know you have the idea of raising your son poor. But Tich has lost so much weight. As his father, you have to be concerned. Delaney was speechless. He immediately said, Teacher Pei, did you misunderstand something? Is that so? I think Tich and Jasmine have been in low spirits recently. Although Bai Yunj felt that her two students were not very smart, they were still her students. She didn't want anything to happen to her student. Delaney was silent for a moment. Teacher Pei, Tich and the others often stay up all night to complete your missions and don't have time to eat. That's why. They're not in good spirits. It wasn't because they didn't have enough money to eat. Bai Yunj. Back then, she had considered that Tich and Jasmine were slow in grasping the content, so she had given them very few missions. Did I arrange a lot? Bai Yunj couldn't help but ask. In her previous life, when she had just started doing research, she had done the same amount of tasks every day. Even if they weren't used to it at first, they would get used to it quickly. Delaney thought for a moment and said tactfully, Teacher Pei, you might not know this, but most people won't be able to catch up to you in their entire lives. After all, back then, Tich had also felt that he was a genius that was hard to come by in 100 years. But when he entered Country R's Computing Institute, he finally sobered up. He even occasionally doubted himself and asked Delaney if it was better for him to go home and inherit billions of assets. Bai Yunj was silent for a long time before hanging up after exchanging a few words with Delaney. A few minutes later, Bai Yunj sent another message in the group chat with Tich and the other two. Tomorrow's class will be changed to Sunday. There's no rush to send it to my email. Also, if you want to attend the academic exchange meeting in Country R next week, bring my invitation letter. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.